You know what time it is. It's your boy, Aquaman. This week has been a straight grind in the space, but I absolutely love it. I wouldn't trade it for anything else in the world. The fact that I have made a career in this crypto space, I love it. But as usual, I got a straight fire video on an engineer from about 9 years ago or 10 years ago, right? This was March 2014. I have an engineer over at Ripple explaining how Bitcoin will run on top of the XRPL. They've been knowing this information. This Bitcoin conference that happened in Texas back in 2014 was no joke. They had your man Vitalik Buterin speaking at the event as well. But as I promised to some of my TikTok fellow followers that I would release this video today. So we're going to take a listen to Mr. Steven Zeiler, a Ripple engineer, on how Bitcoin will run so much more better on top of the XRPL. So let's tap into it. Mr. Steven Zeiler, this is going to be an absolute ear bender. So sit back, relax, and enjoy Mr. Steven Zeiler.
Yeah, that's not excited enough. How about, yay, Bitcoins! Woohoo! All right. Yeah, XRP. So I love Bitcoin, and I have been into Bitcoin for a few years, but about 9 months ago, I discovered Ripple. And so I discovered Ripple, and I thought it was really great, and it could really help the Bitcoin community. And I'll explain why in a minute. But first, I decided to join the team at Ripple Labs. And so I am a software engineer at Ripple Labs. My name is Steven Zeiler. You can find me on GitHub, Steven Zeiler. I'm part of the Ripple team. And on Twitter, I tweet about Ripple and Bitcoin and things like that. So I wanted to talk about how Ripple is like Bitcoin and how it really adds to the Bitcoin ecosystem. And so I want to first talk about the benefits of distributed systems like Bitcoin and Ripple. So with Bitcoin, you have total control of your money. You have a private key and a public key, and that gives you total control of your money. And that is just your Bitcoins, though. You get total control of your Bitcoins, but you don't get total control of your dollars, and you don't get total control of your gold. And you still have to use those in the mainstream way. And one thing that Ripple tries to solve is to enable you to use any currency in a digital way. Any currency in a way that is as secure and as awesome as Bitcoin. So Ripple is a platform where anyone can issue any digital currency they want. So right now on Ripple, you can log in, sign up for a wallet. It's just like a Bitcoin wallet. And I encourage everyone to do that right now. If you see a blue flyer, it will tell you how to log in and get a Ripple wallet. And if you do that, we will give you 1,000 Ripples during this talk or immediately afterward. So I encourage you to do that soon. And
I just have to stop it real quick and just comment. He said a blue flyer. Blue is Ripple's color. Let's face it. So these blue laser beams that we're seeing all over social media, especially on X, I strongly, in my opinion, feel it has something to do with Ripple XRP. But let's continue to hear this man out.
Once you get Ripples, you can issue or obtain any type of currency in digital form. And so I want to walk through an example of how we can use crypto money outside of Bitcoin. And specifically, I want to propose a silver-based economy in Austin that is all digital and super fast, and it's only on Ripple. So I want to ask for beautiful Carolina to come up If anyone has been in Austin for very long, you might know about Capital Coin. It's my favorite silver and gold coin dealer. I always went to Capital Coin to buy silver and gold, and I would be able to spend that silver at places like Brave New Books. But it was kind of awkward to bring like whole silver coins and to try to buy half of the value of that silver coin, because you can't cut it in half or anything like that. And so I proposed that Capital Coin joins the Ripple network. And by joining the Ripple network, Capital Coin could actually issue digital silver that represents the real silver that they have at their store. So, for instance, if I went to Capital Coin, here's an awesome Spanish silver doubloon that my dad found the other day. But it's really awesome. So I would go to Capital Coin, and I would ask to buy some silver. And Carolina, working at Capital Coin, would give me the option. I would give her some dollars, and she would say, do you want the coin version of the silver, or do you want it in your Ripple wallet? And remember, your Ripple wallet is just like a Bitcoin wallet. So people can send digital funds into it. So what would happen is, Carolina and I would, I would show her my phone QR code, like a Bitcoin QR code, and she would send silver into it. And this is actually extremely easy on Ripple. It's just like you would send Bitcoins, you type in the number you want to send, and you send them to the person. Well, in Ripple, you type in the number you want to send, and then you type in the type of money you want to send. And in this case, it would be silver, so she would type that in and send it to me. And one of the magic things about Ripple is that the payment only takes 5 seconds. It's the same cryptography as Bitcoin, but only takes 5 seconds because of the way that transactions are processed. It's very different from the way that Bitcoin transactions are processed. So in 5 seconds, I could have digital silver in my Ripple wallet. Thank you, Carolina, for the digital silver. You can hang on up here. All right, so now that I have my digital silver, who's going to take digital silver? Well, I know that Brave New Books takes digital silver. They take Bitcoins too, if you didn't know that. One of the companies in Austin that takes Bitcoins. So I would go to the store and I want to buy a book. Instead of bringing a silver coin to Brave New Books, I'll pull out my phone and I'll pay them, send them silver. In 5 seconds, they'll have the silver in their wallet. And that transaction can never be reversed. It has the same security as Bitcoin. And I can just pay with silver. Now, at the end of the month, Brave New Books might go back to Capital Coin and say, I want real silver. So they'll take their digital silver that all their customers have sent to them, and they'll take it back to Capital Coin and exchange it for silver. So I would go back, and here's Capital Coin. They've got the silver. I am Brave New Books. I've got all this digital silver on my wallet now, and I'm going to send it over to Capital Coin, and they're going to give me real silver. Awesome. So this is the basic premise behind Ripple, that any asset can be issued in a digital form and stored in your wallet like a Bitcoin wallet. So we have on Ripple companies that issue gold, they issue platinum, silver, all kinds of different assets. There's a silver dimes money on Ripple, and anyone can issue anything. I personally issue Xyler marks, which represent 1 hour of my personal time. So you can buy those on Ripple. All right, so that's awesome. We now can do a digital silver economy all around town. And we can transact in about 5 seconds. And oh, by the way, you can get Bitcoins on Ripple too. If maybe Carolina was not Capital Coin, she was maybe a Bitcoin exchange, I could give her some Bitcoins and she would issue me Bitcoins on Ripple, and now I can spend my Bitcoins in 5 seconds. And if you have used Bitcoins for payments before, you know that the Bitcoin network takes 1 hour to process a transaction securely, but on Ripple you can trade Bitcoins in 5 seconds.
That's right. That's right. Go ahead, Steven Xyler. Talk that talk. Talk that talk, Steve.
So the problem, though, is most of these stores around town still don't accept Bitcoins, and they sure don't accept silver or gold or anything like that. And what they really want is dollars. And so, oh, thank you very much. They want dollars. And so we want to be able to pay people in dollars. Okay, round of applause for Carolina. We need a way to be able to turn our silver and our bitcoins and our gold and our oil tokens into dollars to pay a merchant. So let's say I went to HEB. And HEB, the grocery store, if you don't know, here in Austin, they only accept dollars. Well, I only have silver in my wallet. And they're on Ripple, but they only accept dollars on Ripple. So what I can do is Ripple will allow me to convert my currency into the desired currency that the merchant wants to accept. And that takes 5 to 10 seconds. And so I could go to HEB, and at the cash register they would say that is $100. And I'll pull out my phone and I'll scan to pay. And Ripple will give me some options. It will say, if you have $100 in my wallet, if I do, I can spend that $100. But if I have silver in my wallet, I can convert that silver on the market to dollars almost instantly and pay HEB. So what I would see is I'm spending silver, and HEB would see they are receiving dollars. And so this is a kind of seemingly magical process that the creators of Ripple have created. And so I want to explain the magical process and the second feature of Ripple. The first big feature of Ripple is anyone can issue any digital currency. The second feature of Ripple is that it is a distributed exchange for all currencies. And a distributed exchange means it is not centralized like Mt. Gox, and anyone can access it around the world. Once you have money in Ripple, you can there's an exchange portion to the software that you can put asks for different currencies or bids for different currencies and trade currencies all you want. So you can explicitly trade silver for bitcoins or for dollars if you want, and that will take about 5 or 10 seconds. If someone else is willing to match your bid at the exchange, then you get to exchange your money. So this is really powerful. The other day I had Ripples in my wallet, which all of you will receive soon, and I wanted to buy gold in Singapore. There's a bank in Singapore that stores gold for you, and they issue gold on Ripple. So I went in and I said, I want to buy gold with my Ripples, and in 5 seconds I had gold. And I can go to Singapore and actually redeem that gold with my Ripples. And I securely own that because of the cryptography that is behind Bitcoin and Ripple, the public-private key pair that represents my wallet. Another instance of that is there's a bank in Israel that they have shekels. Shekels is the money in Israel. And I wanted some shekels, so I bought on the Ripple exchange with dollars, $5 worth of shekels in Israel. And so right now, they're sitting in a bank in Israel. I can spend them around the world on the Ripple exchange, or I could also send them to a bank account in Israel if I wanted to, and kind of withdraw that money. So Ripple is a platform for issuing any currency in digital form. You can invent whatever you want, whatever currency you want. And then secondly, it is a distributed exchange. The distributed exchange portion is what really attracted me to Ripple from the start, because I was really into Bitcoin, but there was a problem where it was really hard for people to get money into Bitcoin, and for people to kind of grasp all the cryptography, and for people to grasp like the security of the Bitcoin wallet. It was very confusing. So I saw Ripple as a way for people to get into cryptography, to get into crypto and Bitcoin without having to leave the comfort of the dollar or the euro or their native currency. So on Ripple, you can have digital dollars, digital euros, digital yuan from China. You can have all of these things in your wallet and transact with them just like you would Bitcoins, but very quickly. And this, I think, really lowers the barrier for people. If you can get dollars into your wallet, maybe you're like something like a Bitcoin wallet, and then easily transfer those in and out of Bitcoin, that's way easier than taking a risk on sending your money to something like Mt. Gox, where it might take 3 days to get your Bitcoins. If you already have money in Ripple in dollar form or something, you can change that into any currency you want almost instantly.
Which you will be able to do that on top of the XRPL. So, in my strong opinion, this is just my opinion, he keeps saying Ripple, but I believe that everything that he's just said can be done on top of the XRPL. So, just like what David Schwartz says, the AMMs are near and dear to his heart because everything that this man just broke down is possible on top of the XRPL.
All right. So far, I love having like a collaborative session. So if anyone has any questions so far, please.
Yeah, if you don't mind, for the audio, could you step up to the mic? Hello. Thank you. For our online viewers.
All right, I have a few questions, but I'll start with fraud incentive. So how do you get past the fraud incentive for somebody to issue a currency or a silver certificate from your example without actually having the reserve to back it up?
Yeah, that's a very important thing in Ripple, that anyone can issue any money, so you might not necessarily trust that they'll actually pay you back. For instance, I could issue $1 billion to my friends, and they wouldn't be real dollars because they're not backed by anything. So you have to trust explicitly in the system the person who's sending you, who issues the money. And I would, a lot of the gateways in Ripple have terms of service that are legally binding that say, if you bring back the tokens for your yen, then they'll give you real yen. And so it's based on contractual agreement between the holder of the yen and you. The thing is, though, that once you have yen in your Ripple wallet, it's cryptographically secure. So no one can take it out of your wallet. The person who's holding yen, they issued the yen to you, they can't take it. You still have it. They can always issue more than they have, but I think in the future we'll see a lot more auditing of different gateways and things. Also, if there's trusted banks and different financial institutions, they already have trust, and they don't want to spoil that by printing up too much money.
Okay, that answers it partially, but I guess your example sort of implied that we've gotten past the trust issue of sending something to Mt. Gox, for example. But within Ripple, you still have that trust issue because there's all these IOUs. So the exact same thing could happen to the entity issuing the IOU. So we haven't got past that stage of not trusting the third party.
You're very right. You're very right. We haven't got past the stage of trusting a third party. But in the Mt. Gox example, if you had Bitcoins in Mt. Gox and you wanted to change those for something else, you would have to go through Mt. Gox's software interface that you have to trust that that's going to work, that their servers are running, that they didn't decide to shut down your account. On Ripple, they can't shut down your funds, and you can trade them with any other currency in seconds. So if you think something bad is going to happen, you can get out quickly, and you can trade quickly.
Did you have a follow-up question?
I do, unless anyone else.
Okay. Go right ahead.
Okay, so next question is about the security of the network itself. So my understanding is that there's no way to implement two-factor authentication at this point. Therefore, it appears that a simple keylogger could access anyone's Ripple wallet as they have it implemented, straight through the Ripple wallet from the Ripple website. So
yeah, very good point.
How do you plan to address
Ripple
that?
Labs they built an example client to use. Simply an example. Anyone can build on Ripple. I totally forgot to mention, Ripple is 100% open source. All of our software is available on github.com/Ripple. And so if you want to build a new client that implements two-factor authentication, that would be wonderful. And I'm pretty sure Ripple Labs would love to support you in that endeavor.
Okay. We're actually building
Oh, right. And we are working on building that.
Okay, this is kind of similar, kind of the same theme. So essentially what your company is doing is like an option or like a contract, you're writing contracts between two parties. So I kind of analogous to like the Chicago Board Options Exchange, and they have a clearing corporation to enforce those contracts. And so that's essentially what you're doing, right?
I think so. A lot of people are interested in doing clearing with Ripple because at the end of the month they can easily just cancel each other's debts out that they've issued to each other, and so that is a big use case for Ripple.
Okay, so the options exchange obviously is regulated by the Securities and Exchange Commission. Since you're kind of doing the same thing, are you anticipating as the regulatory environment matures that you're going to be kind of treated the same way? And what is your strategy to kind of handle these new costs as they emerge?
I imagine that given that Ripple is a worldwide system, a worldwide platform, that each individual location that has gateways or provide issuers of money will be regulated by the jurisdiction that they're in, and they will have to follow all those rules. Now, I don't know what the SEC is going to do about the Ripple protocol itself. Ripple is simply a protocol and a distributed database like Bitcoin.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Come up, please. If you will. Thank you.
Is there a monetization scheme for applications that run on top of Ripple?
A monetization scheme as in?
As a colored coin or something that will be generated by the application or for the development of the application? As a kind of a pre-mine or something of that sort?
So in Ripple, there is a native currency called XRP, and we often refer to them as Ripples, and that's what we're handing out today. And we use XRP in order to facilitate.
Did you just hear what he said? They refer to XRP as Ripples. They refer to XRP as Ripples. I'm going to say it one more time. They refer to XRP as Ripples.
Payments on the network and prevent spam and prevent people from trying to DDoS the network. So every payment you make requires a very tiny amount of ripples to be paid as a fee, which is 1/10,000,000th of one ripple, and it is destroyed. So it's eliminated from the system. And that's the only fee that you have to pay with Ripple. Basically, for anyone who wants to use the network normally, 10 or 20 ripples is enough for the fees for the network for an entire lifetime. But if you're trying to attack the network, it will actually charge you a bunch of money for the fees, and you'll run out of money, and you won't be able to attack. So it's a really cool mechanism that we built in. That's why we have XRP and ripples.
Questions? If you could, follow up.
Yeah, but what about, is there a scheme for developing a derivative currency of the XRP for developing applications on top of Ripple?
Yeah, so XRP is not related to any custom currency you want to issue. So if you want to issue gold onto Ripple, you can do that, and it's not involved with XRP at all. And for you, building on top of Ripple, you can choose to charge a percentage fee for anyone using your money. So if you're issuing out gold, you can charge 1% every time someone transacts with your money or something like that. And then there's tons of business opportunities for building on top of Ripple, building liquidity into the network, connecting different assets, and generally building more value in the worldwide network.
Please.
So from what I understand, there's like 10 or 100 billion XRPs that's ever been created. And if XRPs are used up on transactions, then, I mean, does that say there's a finite number of transactions that can happen on the Ripple network then?
So far, very few of them have actually been destroyed because it's only 1/10,000,000th. Though if like say half of the XRPs were gone, then they would be twice as valuable, and so the fee could be half as much. So we could continually reduce the fee.
Okay, so basically, so it's also like 8 digits of resolution then on each XRP or something like that, so that you'd use a smaller and smaller.
Yeah, there is some resolution, though. I'm sure that could be altered in the software.
I see. All right, thanks.
Thank you.
So this sounds like you could use this to create an ETF. So the Winklevosses could have just bought 60 million in Bitcoin and then offered Ripple. And could they have done it that way? And then just, you'd probably have to register with the SEC and stuff, but they could have avoided the exchanges that way. Would that be feasible, you think, someday?
You mean a Bitcoin ETF?
No, a Ripple ETF. So, basically I buy whatever. I buy $60 million worth of gold or Bitcoin, and then I issue shares that's backed by this, and that fluctuates. But then the Ripple then would act basically as my clearinghouse for trading that in the same way the New York Stock Exchange trades ETF shares.
I think you're exactly right. That is essentially what a Ripple currency is. It's an ETF that's linked to some asset in the real world, or some digital asset, or it's made up. But one of the big use cases is digital versions of real assets. So you could even have like digital versions of stock or something, equity in companies that you issue out.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely. That's what Ripple currencies are. They're
So XRP ETF sounds pretty inevitable, just like what Brad Garlinghouse said. And again, let me remind you, this was back from 2014. 2014. Yo. We got a little bit more, and we're going to end this. I think there's one more question here. But yeah.
basically ETF.
The purpose of the Winklevoss ETF is to allow investors, the purpose of the Winklevoss ETF is to allow investors access to the product, people that already have investment accounts with the legacy banking system. So, I mean, that's the core purpose of that product. If you replicated it on Ripple, you still have that problem where people don't have access directly to be able to buy it with the legacy banking system directly to their bank accounts or brokerage accounts.
You're very right. Though I think it will be easier for people and banks to adopt something like Ripple where they don't have to go into a new currency. A lot of banks don't want to be exposed to Bitcoins. But if they can issue their current balances like dollars or euros onto Ripple,
A lot of banks don't want to be exposed to Bitcoins.
then that's an easy way for people to get in and invest in this kind of system, and then they can move into Bitcoins later if they want, pretty easily on the exchange.
As a store of value, right? Exactly.
Just a follow-up to what the gentleman asked, and I know you mentioned about the jurisdiction. Let's say somebody buys a gold and just issues an ETF, for example, on Ripples. Is there SEC? I mean, is anything related to that? I mean, what are the complications? I mean, on that matter, do you guys have any research on that, or?
I don't specifically know all the legal issues. I think there's a lot of questions like that still floating around, and they haven't really decided. But we have a lot of lawyers that you could talk to, I think. And
Yeah, in fact, downstairs, there is a booth that's staffed by regulatory folks and a law firm who was, the counselor was one of our speakers yesterday. So there is a lot of information, printed material down there as well.
And just to mention, Ripple Labs does employ a lot of high-power law firms for the purpose of finding out how we can make this as legal as possible and make it very easy for people to build businesses on top of the crypto system.
Come on up, please.
Did y'all hear that? They got expensive attorney firms, lawyer firms, making sure and businesses will be able to be built on top of the XRPL. Woo, let's go. Is it just me, or is this engineer, Steven Zeiler, very well spoken too? Handling all these questions awesomely. Awesomely. This guy has an overstanding of Ripples, aka XRP, and the XRPL AMMs.
How do you plan to protect the customers from asset duplication or somebody trying to issue a asset like silver or gold that isn't the same that somebody else has issued to try and duplicate or dupe your customers into trading onto the false asset?
Good question. So in order to receive an asset on Ripple, you have to trust the issuer of the asset. Specifically or explicitly, you have to add a record of trust into the system. So you would say, I trust this provider of silver to give me silver, but you wouldn't be able to obtain other providers of silver without trusting them also.
We have time for another question. Do you have a question?
Yeah.
Come on up.
Follow up to that conversation.
Well, let's have a question, not a conversation.
Questions?
Questions? Yeah, no, I appreciate it, but if you have a comment, please go ahead, but let us...
Well, I'll go for a different question then. the Bitcoin bridge that you created, that was a great way to connect to the Bitcoin infrastructure. However, it's only one way right now, and so it actually provides an incentive to use XRP and get out of Ripple and into the Bitcoin ecosystem. So my question is, do you plan to make it two-way? And then do you plan to implement other similar bridges with other cryptocurrencies that would function in a similar manner?
Second part of your question, absolutely. We want as many bridges to different networks as possible. The idea is that you could have a bridge to PayPal, a bridge to Bitcoin, a bridge to anything. The current Bitcoin bridge that exists in Ripple, and if everyone doesn't know, in the Ripple web client that we've built, you can.
He said a bridge to everything. What's David Schwartz's favorite basketball team? The Golden State Warriors. What's their logo? What's their team logo? The bridge. The bridge. The Golden Gate Bridge.
Any of your money into Bitcoins and send to a Bitcoin address natively in the client. It's just a feature we built, but it's actually built by Bitstamp. Bitstamp provides the bridge. So I would love for them to implement an alternate bridge, but you can buy Bitcoins at Bitstamp and have them issue them onto Ripple.
There's actually 3 Bitcoin bridges.
There are 3 bridges? All right, awesome. Yeah, so you can, Bitstamp issues euros, dollars, and Bitcoins. So you can get them from them and then get them back out.
Stephen, one final question.
You mentioned that the Ripple software is open source, and I was just wondering, do you envision someday, alt Ripples being created, like, Light Ripple and Doge Ripple and stuff like that, and or does Ripple Labs have some patent or something that would prevent something like that from happening?
Ripple Labs does not have a patent, though they do own the name Ripple with a capital R, so you can't use that, it's copyrighted. Yes, anyone can clone the Ripple software, but fundamentally Ripple is a payment network that links up all the different payment institutions around the world. So you could clone the software, but you would also have to still build the entire network, and you would have to build relationships with all of the different players around the world. Or you could build your own private Ripple that only your friends and you use, and it would be totally off of the Ripple servers and everything. Anyone can clone it, and that would be awesome. We take pull requests, I think.
But who has the same relationships, even though they're not technically, announced just yet? But we've all seen certain documents, certain connections that tell us, the XRP community, that Ripple have some major relationships. I mean, you have Monica Long stating that they have relationships with institutions. And those relationships are what? DeFi relationships. So that's going to do it for this video. Thank you for tapping in. If this didn't blow your mind, again, this was back from 2014. Now, look. If you hold XRP and you just got it chilling in cold storage and those XRPs are not making you passive income, I strongly urge you, come check out Wealth 28 Club, where we have step-by-step directions. Basically, DeFi for Dummies is the very first 2 parts of the course. We have step-by-step directions. What is a liquidity pool? How to enter a liquidity pool? How to exit a liquidity pool? What wallet to use? How to connect your wallet? You're going to be a DeFi expert, let me tell you, after a few weeks of going through all the videos inside of Club 28. And you can start earning passive income with your digital assets. There's only about 5 to 10 million people worldwide, and I say worldwide, that are aware of DeFi and taking advantage of it. Do yourself a favor, pull my card, go on ChatGPT after you're done watching this video and ask ChatGPT how many people are involved in DeFi right now worldwide. And you mark my words, you're going to get anywhere from 5 to 10 million people worldwide. Do you know what that statistic is? That means that is less than a 0. It's like a 0.06%, guys and gals. So be sure to be ahead of the herd. Front run these institutions, because these institutions aren't in DeFi just yet, but boy, are they coming. Boy, are they coming. So tap in. Club 28, the best club on the planet. Because why? You get to earn passive income with your digital assets, what they were meant to be doing for you. So other than that, as I always say, much love. If you haven't already, hit that subscribe button, comment below, and if you like the video, give it a thumbs up and help the algorithm. But again, much love and enjoy your day.